Hello, Gorilla Position fans. James D-Lo here with Mrs. Foley's baby boy's baby girl.
Hello.
The lovely Noelle Foley. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And your lovely boyfriend, Frank Mastari, a.k.a. Frank the Clown. How are you, Frank?
It's great to finally be on, I'll tell you that. But I'm flattered I was introduced after her. She's normally the one that gets introduced last.
Yeah, no,
so.
you're the main event.
Yeah,
Sorry.
obviously.
At least we know, at least you and I are on the
Obviously,
same
it's okay.
page
I
here.
already know.
Yeah,
Can we tell the story about what happened a couple of years ago?
I would love to.
Okay, so Frank wasn't in particularly good favour with WWE a couple of years ago, and there was a request made that I could interview you, and you were part of our WrestleMania 31 recap from California, but we weren't allowed to have you on the show, Frank.
No.
How times have changed.
How times have changed. It's funny because I was talking to somebody that works with the company that, you know, they used to try to get me off of television. They used to try to move me off TV, get me onto hard cams so I wouldn't be distracting to the show. And the same guy who moved me for years and years and years this past weekend's like, you know, I spent all these years moving you, getting you off TV, and now you're on our network. Now you're on our programming.
But I mean, it's ridiculous, right? What a turnaround. I mean, first of all, let's talk about where we are. We're in Brooklyn. It's SummerSlam weekend. We've had
In the basement.
The
basement ballroom.
Yeah. All the WWE guys are staying here. I've just seen a lot of them upstairs, but we are down in the basement.
Yes.
Right. The dungeon.
We've been here all night.
Locked in here.
So we had NXT TakeOver on Saturday night. We had SummerSlam last night. How are you guys feeling about this weekend? I mean, for you guys particularly, it's a really special weekend because immediately following SummerSlam last night on the network, episode 1 of the new reality show, Holy Foley, dropped. How are you feeling? It must be an incredible time for you guys.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. It's so crazy. When the show premiered last night, I'm getting tweets from WWE and WWE Network. I'm just like, oh my God, they're mentioning me and they're tweeting about me. Oh my God, there's pictures of me. So it's just pretty insane, and it's crazy that it's actually happening. And the first time I saw any type of commercial or anything was at WrestleMania this past year in Dallas, and I see myself on the big screen. I'm like, holy crap, like this is real. This is real. This is happening. So it's just a really cool opportunity, and I'm really happy and excited.
And did you sort of see it happening? Because you've kind of grown up in the business.
Yeah.
You know, you were around. I mean, before we started recording, we were talking about Beyond the Mat.
Yeah.
And, you know, all the stuff your dad did, and the fact that you were behind the scenes for so many big events. So growing up in the industry, did you think, oh, one day I might kind of work with WWE? Or did it not cross your
I've
mind?
always just loved the atmosphere of both being in the arena watching as a fan and also being backstage. Everyone in the company is awesome, and it's just kind of like one big family. So I've always thought like, maybe one day I want to wrestle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reality show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me getting into the business.
And can you shed any light on the training? How's it going?
Training it's quite difficult. It's painful.
I love the way you put that. It's quite difficult.
Imagine that, wrestling training.
It's quite difficult.
It's not the easiest thing in the world.
No, it's not. But I definitely have so much respect for every wrestler who's ever stepped into the ring because they put their bodies on the line for
it's hard, man.
others' entertainment.
Yeah.
And not everyone knows how hard it is and the pain you go through. So I just have a new level of respect.
And working through injuries.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Working hurt. It's not easy.
Oh, yeah. I definitely get a couple injuries, which you'll find out about on Holy Foley.
Check it out on the WWE Network. There's a show. And Frank, we've got to talk about your transition from a WWE superfan. Everyone knows you as Frank the Clown.
Right.
Front row, in your wig.
Yeah.
You did a piece for MTV for us a couple of years ago at WrestleMania. And now you're a part of the show. You know, you're part of one of their big new series. They're putting a lot of money behind to advertise this thing. Do people hate you for being a fan and then being involved?
Yeah, I don't even know if hate's the word. It's very passionate.
Oh, it's worse than hate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, I got a tweet. So Monday night, they ran some new commercials, really promoting the show hard. And that was my first appearance at any of the commercials because I didn't know if I was going to squeeze myself into the commercials. So I get in, they come air during Raw, and then I got a ton of tweets right after that. And I saw some people, it was like they were sarcastic, and one was like, "I'm so glad Frank the Clown's appearing on Holy Foley. Now I can go kill myself." And I'm like, so stuff like that. And it's like you laugh it off,
Yeah.
Hopefully that guy didn't do that, but yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a mixed reaction. I feel like I've always been kind of polarizing because people don't understand me, and hopefully the show shows me in like a new light in a way, and it shows that like, hey, I'm kind of a normal person. I'm social. I'm able to kind of emphasis on kind of. I'm able to contribute and interact with society. I don't dress as a clown all day, all night. Like it's just like a small part of my life that I do every so often.
Yeah.
But it's a part of me, and I've embraced it fully. And I was happy for the opportunity to be on because really I didn't know how much I was going to be involved with the show from the start. Like obviously I knew I was going to be a factor, but I think I never expected to be in as much as I was. So I feel like I hold a somewhat substantial role on it.
I thought he was going to be in like one episode, so I was like, sorry, Frank, I probably can't see you for 3 months.
But then I ended up being there for 8 of the 10 weeks.
Yes,
like,
then he just
there.
stayed with me for like a month,
which
was cool.
That's great. Less traveling back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
So where are you? You're in
Long Island,
You're
New
in
York.
Long Island with the family.
Yeah.
You're still living in Chicago.
Still in Chicago, yeah.
So long distance relationship. So this series has probably brought you even closer together, right?
It has,
Yeah, no, it's been like a bonding experience. Like it's been super fun, and like it's a lot of work. Like people think like, hey, you're on a reality television show, like, blah blah blah, like your life's so bad, like it's so easy. You have it, everything gets handed to you, Noelle.
But some of the days were tough. One of the days I had a 14-hour day, and
it didn't feed you.
I almost passed out. We were doing this photo shoot, and I didn't eat all day, and I just came from a strenuous activity, and I was wobbling back and forth. And my mom said she saw the pictures, and my eyes were rolling to the back of my head.
Oh, some of these photos are great. I hope they make it out.
Amazing.
I hope they don't make it out.
Her face is like this. Like one eye is like drooping, and she's like.
So I look like I'm on drugs.
Yeah.
But I was just tired and
still look great.
Tired and hungry.
Or like trying to be seductive, but really you're about to
right.
fight.
Yeah.
It's a good look. And sorry, you've got to clarify this. What was this strenuous activity you came from? Nothing with Frank, I hope.
Oh, no.
Okay, good.
No.
Yeah,
it may have sounded like that.
Yeah, that just goes really quick. It's not much for her anyways.
I was going to say, yeah. And so with your role in the show, I imagine, is it sort of trying to get the approval of Noelle's parents?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's like, "Oh, Frank's the heel of the show," and I'm not really. I guess like by default, if there's any heel on the show, it is me because it's none of the family members.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I'm trying to win over her mother to an extent, but she warms up to me sooner. Even her little brothers, and even Dewey. Like I have some stuff with Dewey, and I think it's some good stuff we did. But I'm portrayed in a very interesting light. It's not the most positive portrayal. And again, we haven't seen all of this footage yet, so I really don't even know. But judging from some tweets I got, it'll be an interesting watch, especially for me, some of my friends who aren't wrestling fans and everything that really don't know what to expect. So,
but it's great to be a part of it because especially at this time, I feel like the industry, WWE especially, is really opening itself up to a more of a casual mainstream audience. Total Divas is the perfect example.
Oh, yeah.
My wife now is kind of so much more interested in WWE and the people behind it because of shows like
because
Total
of the
Divas.
women. Because
exactly.
E-Network is a huge network that a majority of the women, they're the audience, so that brings a whole new audience to
and they
WWE.
just leave it on all day. He's just on all day.
I love Total Divas.
It's great.
I love it.
And I can't wait for Total Bellas.
Yeah,
I genuinely
I'm
can't wait for it.
Yeah. And I'm really excited that Nikki Bella is back. I was so pumped when her music hit.
Do you know what happened last night? I was so excited to see Nikki back. I had a feeling she might come back.
Yeah.
Her music hit, I jumped up in excitement and I stood in a piece of cake that I'd bought, and I had flip-flops on.
Perfectly good
so
piece
I
of
said
cake.
chocolate and cheesecake just
like
all over
all
my
up
feet.
in your toes.
Yeah. I tweeted a picture. It's fairly horrendous. But I blame Nikki Bella for that.
I hope you tagged her in there.
No, I didn't actually. I should have done.
Rats.
You need to teach me how to use social media
I'll quote your
correctly.
tweet and I'll tag her in there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So you're trying to impress the parents. In reality,
Yeah.
do your family like Frank?
They do. There are a few
She says
things.
But there's some apprehension
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
They do like him. My dad always says he's a good person because Frank is straight edge. So he's not like going and getting drunk and like going out to
I'm
bars
responsible.
every night, and he's mature. But then there's a few things that Frank needs to work on, which we talk about in Holy Foley. One scene I had so much fun with. We were in the car and we were driving. We had the GoPros, and I was just laying it into Frank. I was like, "This feels so good. Like now he has to answer me."
Yeah, it's
Airing the dirty laundry in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
no, and there are real life there are some real life conversations that are on this show that like we both used as like a platform to kind of air out grievances or like get to that point, and like you blur the lines as well because you don't know, like the viewer doesn't necessarily know what's real and what's not, and even us sometimes, like when she's talking to me, I'm like, what's she mean that? Wait, like what? Noelle,
Yeah, I mean
why didn't you
that.
say this sooner? So there's some scenes with her and I that I know are in the later episodes that they felt very real, and it's not like happy-go-lucky scenes. They're very serious. There's a lot of serious undertones that are between the lines there. And,
Yeah, one of the scenes my dad made me cry.
she
really?
cries. Yeah. Which
He was being really serious, and the things he was saying, I just got emotional and I was crying, but not a happy cry. It was a sad cry. I sad cry a few times, and I cry from injuries. So it's not just smiling. There's some drama in there too.
Yeah.
So if you want to see Noelle really upset, just head to the WWE Network.
Right.
It's
Holy
not
Foley.
cute. I am not a cute
You're not a
crier.
cute
I'm
crier, really?
is anyone a cute crier?
ugly crier? That's me.
Show me a cry face.
No, you
No,
don't
you can
wanna
pop
see
it in. I don't think it's on one of the first episodes that was
It's
released.
actually in the first look. They show
Oh, it
a
is.
short clip of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good.
Or she's like, what you're saying hurts my feelings.
Yeah, I sound like a 5-year-old.
Right.
This hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
My feelings do get hurt. I have sensitive feelings.
Yeah.
Now there was a story you were telling me about before we started recording about your younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
So your whole family's in the show, right?
Yes.
But he doesn't like swearing.
Oh no.
Tell me the story. I found it hilarious.
He is just so against swearing. When I say hell in a cell, he's like, Noelle, you can't say that. You either have to say heck in a cell or HELL in a cell. I was like, Huey, that's the name of the pay-per-view. He's like, I don't care. You can't say those words. Or if I say like badass, he'll freak out.
Bless him.
They looked up videos of Frank before we were even dating and saw him cursing. They're like, I don't like him. He's not allowed in our
Right.
house anymore.
If you swear, they disown you forever.
But
like
it's
it takes
funny
a while.
because Mickey curses a lot.
Right.
Huey is not aware of Mickey's curses.
Yeah, like we'll see a scary movie together and he'll shout out curse
Oh
words.
shit! Oh man! Oh no! Don't go in there, dumbass! No!
Wait, yesterday we were driving to Barclays Center and the driver told Mickey not to touch something, but he said it really sternly. And Mickey,
Yeah, that was awkward. Yeah.
Mickey doesn't take stern talking too well. So he looks at me. Mickey's like, douchebag.
I did not see this. I was in the car. That's
And
great.
I was just like, yeah, he is.
That was
Just to
awesome.
make him feel bad.
And how old is Huey? He's
Huey's 13.
he's 13.
And Mickey's 15.
And he hates swearing. I just love that.
He-
I think that's
he
really
says-
sweet for like
he-
13-year-olds
wait,
nowadays.
He says he'll never swear, never drink, and never have sex in his life. And I kind of believe it. I believe it.
Fuck that. That's not
Right.
happening.
I feel like we should tell the shower story here.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
a great story.
It's a great story.
It's a
Tell the
great
shower
story.
story.
Go on, Frank.
this was like a year ago. We were in like Philadelphia or something, and so I mean, again, Huey despises swearing. I've done a really good job, and like, you know, I swear, you know, it just comes out of my mouth, and I've done a good job though inside their home to really never swear, because I know how much he hates it. I know how much her dad doesn't really like it, and I was like, okay. So I'm in the shower, and it's Huey, Dewey, and Noelle that are sitting in the hotel room. So I go in the shower, I turn it on, and the water is just like blistering hot. Like it's gonna melt my skin off. And my first reaction as the water hits me was to scream. And what I yelled was, "Oh, fuck me!" And immediately there's silence in the room.
Huey immediately turns to me. He's like, Noelle, why did he say that? Noelle, I don't like him anymore. What is he doing?
All I'm thinking in the shower is like, oh man, when I come out of here, it's going to be the worst. So she's
I'm texting him. I'm like, Frank, just as soon as you come out, just say you're sorry and you didn't mean to do it.
Right. So I come out and I'm like as soon as the door swings open, I'm like pleading. I'm like, Huey, I'm sorry. The water was so hot. It was just a natural instinct. It was the first 2 words that came in my mouth. I can't help it. My skin, look how red. That's why I was like, look how red I am. It was so hot. He's like, okay. I think he likes me, so I take good care of him, so he gets over it far more quickly than like if someone random would do it, like a stranger. Like if a stranger said those 2 words, they would be dead to him forever.
Right.
Yeah, so
forever.
If you are a drinker, a smoker, and a cursor,
or if
Huey will hate your guts.
Or if you have sex.
Wow.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
So
He sounds like such a sweet boy.
Right.
Like, that's not really nice. I like
He's very pure.
No,
Yeah,
I cannot
that's
wait
good.
to see the episodes of Holy Foley, because I listened to some of their interviews and they bury me.
They bury the whole family. It was like
They were like, Dad, when
therapy
we go
hour.
on vacation with you, they're terrible. You just make us cry.
Yeah. But with no context past that, just like, their vacations are terrible. Why? They're just terrible.
Yeah. Noelle, you don't do anything with us. You haven't brought us to the movie in years. As soon
like
as
they went 2
they
nights
get
ago.
done, I was like, guys, I brought you to the movie last week. And they're like, oh, yeah, we forgot.
Yeah.
I was like, now I sound like a terrible sister.
They took every advantage in like the interview portions of the show to like really say what they wanted to say with no filters.
Right.
So that'll be interesting to see how much of that they're going to use because there's some gold. Like everybody would gather around in the house when they would do their interviews,
Yeah.
especially the first couple, because everyone was like, oh, what are they going to say? Are they going to be quiet? Or are they going to really explode? And then they feed off of each other, and they would just let loose. And like all the producers would sit around, we're all like covering our mouths
Yeah.
laughing because it's
They're funny.
ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Funny,
Yeah.
evil children.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Yeah, they're a handful.
Funny, evil children. And I was like, in recent years, your dad in particular has been quite sort of outspoken about the WWE
Yeah.
product, and some of it has been sort of constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's really gone off of them. I mean, the whole Daniel Bryan situation at
Oh,
the Rumble
yeah.
a couple of years ago.
I remember
was
that. My TV remembers that.
Yeah. And so I was sort of quite surprised that they'd partnered up, and he's now become a really big part of the show again, and he's got his own show.
Yeah.
Like, how did it all happen? Was there any sort of beef between the two parties, or?
I guess not. I guess some time passed, and well, the show came about. Vince saw footage of my dad and I, and he liked what he saw. And after a few months, things got worked out, and we announced that we were shooting a reality show.
Yeah.
And then the general manager position, I'm honestly not 100% sure how that came about, but my dad just got called up probably like a week before. I was like,
I was
hey,
going to ask how
do you
long
want to be the
before?
GM? My dad's like, yeah. And he's like, Noelle, I have some cool news. I'm like, what is it? He's like, they want me to be the GM of Raw. I was like, really? Really? But he's
Wow.
told me not to say anything until now.
So now he's sort of back on the road
Yeah.
a lot, week in, week out.
Yeah.
Is he enjoying that position
He
again?
is
kind of
enjoying it.
Being involved?
Yeah, he said it's fun being backstage, just like old times, but without getting injured, of course.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which I'd much prefer that.
Not
He
coming
racked
back all
up quite a
bloody.
few injuries, didn't he, in his
But
career?
he's been doing better. He actually lost 80 pounds.
I was going to say he's looking amazing at the
Yeah,
moment.
80 pounds.
good.
And, you know, he's never going to feel great.
No.
It's just not possible. But he's feeling a lot better with all that weight gone. It's easier on the joints.
Yeah.
And he's been working out. Swimming is his favorite.
Okay.
Because if you're going to do weights, you could easily hurt yourself. And I feel like if he's at the gym, people will be like, oh, it's Mick Foley. He must be strong. And then my dad will try to...
He's not trying to build strength at this point.
Yeah.
Really. It's just more of...
Just keep things moving.
Yeah.
Swimming's a good fluid.
Yeah.
Right.
My
Works our
dad has
body.
gotten me eating healthy. Like, I'm eating, like, beans, kale, vegetables, fruits, everything. And it's crazy that my dad got me into eating healthy.
Yeah, that's pretty mad.
Yeah. Now I need to get Frank into eating healthy. But Frank can eat anything he wants and still stay a stick.
Yeah, you're
Yeah. These extra smalls don't fit themselves.
Frank asked me this morning, he's like, Noelle, does this shirt
Legitimately
look
an
a
extra
little
small.
too small? I'm like, yeah. And
But I'm like, no, I fill it out.
Oh, okay.
Because it's very small
I was
nonetheless,
like,
but it's
maybe
not
you
like...
should find a new shirt. And he's like, oh, okay, you really don't like it then. I was like, maybe just stretch it out a little bit.
So, yeah, when I'm sitting down, it's not... I mean, it's just a tight shirt.
You're annoyingly thin.
I am thin.
My
I can eat
boyfriend wears
whatever I
tighter
want.
clothes than I do.
I think
And smaller sizes than
you
I do.
need to be worried.
I
You need
am.
to be worried.
I'm very worried.
I think he's wearing heels as well.
Yeah, trust me, I need him to be taller than her.
Yeah, how tall are you? You're pretty
I'm
tall.
6 foot.
6 foot.
I always
wow.
tell him, I was like, why didn't they make men wear heels? That would make more sense. They would add height to the men, and they need the height.
And like she likes to wear heels on certain occasions, but I'm always like, I'm never gonna be the guy that's gonna be like, absolutely not, you're not gonna wear those heels tonight. But I'm like, oh, maybe you should just put on those boots over there, you know, like.
Well, like some occasions you can't just wear combat boots.
For like a Hall of Fame ceremony, like there's just,
Yeah.
I just know that like the one time a year that she's gonna tower over me, and it's a great.
Learn to suck it
right,
up.
and I have learned to suck it up, but it's a great visual because it's like we're such a unique looking like couple. I think that it's like Kevin Hart and his wife. Like his wife's far taller than him because he's super short.
Yeah.
And they always take like funny photos and stuff I see. So I think we try to like do the same. We always have like a running photo of her holding me like a baby.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, like we just do it all the time because
my
it's
building up the
workout.
muscles.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like people think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious, and it's like it's in good fun. But then we'll get the tweets like, "Your girlfriend's carrying you, man. You got to be a man. Like you got to bulk up." And it's like, dude,
You're ruining it.
More
Right.
people on Twitter that hate you.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
imagine that.
Now, talking to Twitter, I've got to ask you about this, Frank. And also talking about being negative about the product.
Mm-hmm.
You wrote an open letter to
Yeah.
WWE, 6 months ago, something like that?
It was in Sheamus was champion still, so it was like between November and December.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, about that.
And so you were just being very vocal,
Yeah.
and I read it, and you made some very valid points about the product and what was good,
Yeah.
but what was bad and what
Right.
you thought they weren't doing correctly. Do you, given your position now, do you regret sending that tweet?
No,
No?
absolutely not. No, my thing is when I wrote that, I was laying in my bed and it was like following a Raw, the Monday night, and the Raw was just awful, and it was really truly like a chore to watch the show. Like, and I'm pretty captivated by like the show week in and week out. Like I watch it every week, but like that week I was just like, man, this sucks. And I felt like I have a platform, and I feel like my opinion kind of means something to some people. So really, it was just, I was laying in my bed at like 3 a.m, and I was just like, you know what, screw it. And I just started typing on my phone. And I didn't know where I was going to go with it, but my main objective wasn't to be that fan that thinks he knows it all and is just burying the product. I was trying to remain positive, and it was almost like a constructive criticism thing, because it was like, hey, this is what you guys are doing, and this is what you could do. And it wasn't like, hey, you got to make this guy the champion or this. It was everything I felt like I had a valid point on, and I felt like I supported all the points I made. And like I made references to like their inflation of ticket prices, because that's something that hits home to me, because I've paid for like my fair share of tickets over the years. There's a huge markup in prices, and I felt like there's a huge drop in quality. I knew some people backstage were not happy with their position. I knew people were complaining, and like it just seemed like a workplace for some people that, and again, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong because I'm not back there. But I just wasn't thrilled with what was being presented to me, and I felt like I had every right to be outspoken about it. But again, my main objective was to truly be not a downer. It was really to be just, hey, I love you guys. I want to see you do better because I know you can do better. I know it because I've seen it time and time again. So just don't get complacent and just think you can roll out bullshit television just because you know people are going to watch. Make an effort, because I know all the guys backstage those guys, a lot of people have a chip on their shoulder and they want to show their worth.
Yeah.
So, not that I'm saying there was a knee-jerk reaction to my letter, but the next week's Raw was incredible. I think that was the show that Roman won the title. It was a great match.
You did it, Frank. You
right.
did it.
Yeah, and some people were like that, like, Frank, you did it. You spoke for us. And some people were like, yeah, Frank, you probably think that was about you. They did it for you. They just put that letter in their spam folder. And it's like, I spoke to a couple people within the company, and, like, they commended me for writing it. Like, it was like, hey, man, that was really good what you wrote. Like,
Oh, so you actually got some feedback?
I did get some feedback. Yeah. And I mean, and again, there's positive and negative stuff. Some people, I know, some people didn't like it within the company, and I was told that. And then then the other side of the coin was there were some people that liked it. But I liked I felt like it made a little bit of an impact on social media. I got a lot of action, and to answer your question, no,
3 hours later,
I absolutely 100% do not regret it, despite being in the position now, because I never want to be that guy that's going to be like the corporate, like, hey, Heidi ho, this is all great, and everything's smells,
of course,
right, it's all roses. So no, I just want to be who I am, and just if I got something to say, I'm going to say it.
And it was good because, as you said, it came from a place of, we love this so much.
From a place of passion.
Please just, give us what we want. And did you tag in Triple H and Stephanie into the tweet? I'm sure you did, didn't you?
I don't remember.
Because I remember reading it and going, that's a ballsy move.
I feel like you might have.
I think I did. I legitimately sent that email. Like, it was an email. I sent that email.
I emailed
and then screenshotted it, right?
I legitimately emailed it to WWE.
Right.
Like, people thought like that I just did it just for like this a publicity stunt. Like, I just put it on Twitter. No, I sent that email and I never got a direct response. I never expected to. I know who it went to, but like it. It was all. It was just like me. I figured it was gonna get some sort of reaction, but it really took off, and it was really not just to like get attention on myself. It was just to like, hey, I want to draw some light to some of the stuff that's going on here, and if somebody reads it in a powerful position and opens their eyes on something, then
it's testament to how passionate you are as a fan.
Yeah.
So
I took the time to do that at 3 a.m. on my phone. Like,
you need to get a life.
I need to get a life. I'm a big loser.
I tell him this every day. Tell him how long it took you to finish the whole entire Game of Thrones.
Oh, I finished. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I haven't seen one episode of Game of Thrones.
Me either. We can watch it together.
Okay.
I told Frank to wait for me, but he didn't.
I love binge watching television. It's very therapeutic to me. It's like my favorite. I don't really go out much when I'm at home, and especially when we're apart. I just like to sit at home, watch TV. Like, I don't know. It's just very relaxing. So I obviously heard so much about Game of Thrones. And I've watched every other major television show, like you name it. I've watched them all, but I just haven't gotten around to Game of Thrones. And I was like, you know what? I'm making this commitment. I'm all in. So there's 60 episodes. There's 6 seasons now in the books, and they're all legitimately an hour. Like, no commercials, and some are even longer. I finished all 60 episodes in 3 weeks.
Wow. That is...
I mean, and I'm staying up till like all night watching. I'm like, I was counting out
sad.
episodes. It is sad, but I
is.
love the experience. Oh man, it's such a great show. I'm so glad I did it. But then once it's over, I'm like,
what do I do with my life? My life is pointless.
Yeah.
You've seen Breaking Bad, right?
My favorite show of all time.
It is. It's the greatest show I've made. My thing I always said to people was, I don't know how another television show is going to top Breaking Bad. Game of Thrones came close, but I felt like I was a little bit slightly more invested in Breaking Bad. Yeah, of course.
Because it's more realistic.
Yeah,
it's obviously set in present time. So, such a fantastic show. Yeah,
amazing show. Let's talk a bit about the WWE product, what you're enjoying at the moment. So SummerSlam last night, a bit of a controversial card.
Yes.
Mainly because of the placement of the matches, the running order of the show. But what did you... About SummerSlam specifically, what did you really enjoy, Noelle? And
I really loved the Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins, but I could not stand the crowd chanting about the belt, booing the belt. Like, focus on the match.
Yeah.
And Seth Rollins tweeted, it's
He was
not
upset this morning,
yeah,
wasn't
it's
he?
not,
Disappointed me.
It's not about the appearance of the belt. It's what the belt represents and the two men fighting for it, which is 100% it. Because imagine yourself in the ring wrestling, putting everything out there, and you think you're having a great match, but you're hearing these boos and you're hearing people chanting about a belt. Like, yeah, the belt, it kind of looks like the women's belt, but it's the belt.
It's just a belt.
The thing
Yeah.
is, no matter what would have been under that, apron that they had for the belt when they revealed it, it didn't matter if it would have been the coolest design in the world. They would have booed anything.
Yeah.
They would have booed anything because wrestling fans that's the way they are.
They are hard to please.
Apart from the winged eagle belt.
Right.
Maybe that would have gone down.
That
well
would
in
have,
New York.
right. But, WWE wants to brand their stuff. And guess what? That belt's going to sell.
Yeah.
And that's money in their pockets. It's just, I see why. I don't give a shit about what color it is or how it looks. Like, it's a championship.
Do you think WWE made a mistake, though, knowing how lively the New York, Brooklyn crowd is? Do you think they made a mistake by not revealing it on Raw? Do you know what I mean? Because, as you say, whatever the belt was going to look like, fans were going to boo it.
Yeah.
And they, for the first half of that match, the
Yeah.
fans were so distracted by that belt.
Yeah, at first I was
Yeah.
so confused. I was like, what is everyone booing about? I don't get it. What are they doing? And he's like,
This
it's the
belt
belt.
sucks.
I was
Yeah.
like, what? I don't get it.
And it's like it's Finn versus Seth on
It's like Dream
You're-
Rush.
you've
at,
waited for this
a main
for so
event on a
long.
big show. Finn Balor's first major match against Seth Rollins. These are two huge favorites of the hardcore wrestling fans. It's like, and you people are chanting about a belt? Like, really appreciate what's in the ring right now because like stuff like this is like unprecedented. Like this is a new championship with a new star that just got called up with, the top guy, like the guy that's being presented, like the number one pick. And they're just both incredible athletes, incredible wrestlers, and they haven't been in the ring with each other. And I mean, on major television ever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've ever wrestled in Independence, but like, and they're chanting about the belt.
Yeah.
So that was a bummer. But like the match was still great, and the crowd got into it near the end. They kind of forgot about the belt because they were getting invested into the match, and awesome finish. So happy for Finn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I really enjoyed the women's match too. Like when they did that stunt, when they went up to the top, my heart was racing so
Like all
fast.
they do is go to the top rope. Oh
I
my
was
god!
grabbing Frank's arm. I was digging my nails in him. I was like, oh my god, oh my god.
I was literally sat like
I know.
thinking,
Yeah.
what is
I
about to happen?
was so scared because anything could go wrong, especially because your neck, her neck could have, something bad could have happened if it didn't go as planned.
Yeah.
And I ran into Sasha's mom after, and she hadn't seen her yet. And she's like, oh my God, I wonder if she's okay. And I was like, I texted my dad and asked if she's okay, and she is. So thank goodness, because she could have gotten really hurt. And then there was another move. Like Charlotte dropped Sasha on the ropes, and when she landed,
Oh, and she fell backwards.
Yeah.
Right
On her
yeah,
head.
Yeah. But because I loved the match live, and I'm so invested in the women at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, the division's
Yeah.
amazing. I love Charlotte, love Sasha. A huge fan of Bailey.
Yeah, me too.
I can't wait for her to come up. But I was looking at social media, and a lot of people at home watching on TV were saying that it was full of botches and it was really awkward and horrible to watch because
you
it looked so
serious?
dangerous. Yeah, like a lot of negative responses to this women's match. And I was thinking, those girls have just killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it
They
was
always do.
Yeah, I mean, they do.
They always have such chemistry with each other. They've had it since NXT, and like that match on Raw when Sasha won a title. That was one of the better
Oh my God,
television
we
matches
were together.
in a long
We
time.
were like
Incredible.
screaming and jumping out of our seats.
Yeah.
That was an
And, like,
amazing match.
And there's always been the stigma attached to women's wrestling stuff, and it's like sometimes tough for the audience to really invest in it. And like these girls are doing that. Like they're getting people into it. Like they're making themselves, a big attraction of the show, where before they were just kind of like the sideshow. So yeah, I know. I mean, I really enjoyed the match too. We were
Yeah.
both really into it. It's like they're taking risk.
They
Like,
really are.
They're putting themselves out there to make for a great match and make for like moments. We always remember the moments. So
Yeah, and after they did that stunt off the top rope, everyone at Barclays stood up and was cheering. It was amazing. I had goosebumps.
Yeah.
I got goosebumps talking about it
Yeah.
now. It was incredible. And let's talk about the end of the show. Brock Lesnar, I think you said before we started recording, another controversial end to another SummerSlam involving Brock Lesnar. They booked themselves into a corner here. Do you think that's what why it sort of went awry towards the end?
Yeah, because it's like with the returning Randy Orton, you don't want him to look like, you don't want him to look bad in his first match back, or not his first match back, but his first major match back.
Yeah.
And with Brock, like, he's at a point where it's like, who can he lose to? He's beaten everyone, Undertaker, Cena. Who's left for him at this point to beat, and who on the roster is ready to get that win over him? So it's one of those weird things where it's like you maybe shouldn't have closed the show with it, because last year's SummerSlam ended with Taker and Lesnar in a really weird ending, and everyone was like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
And this again, like, was another one of those weird endings where it's like no one knows what really was like, well, was that part of it? Was Randy supposed to get busted open? Was that because he was bleeding like profusely? And then Shane comes out, and it's like, well, Shane, did they just make that up on the fly, send Shane out there? Or who knows? But Brock, I mean, I love Brock, and like the attraction to Brock is really cool because he brings something unique to the table.
Yeah.
But it might be time to stop putting him in like these main events where he's going to end the show, because really every Brock match is the same.
Yeah.
Suplex, goes in the corner, shoulder bump, F5, kicks out of opponent's finisher, destroys an announce table. But I mean, it's still great to watch. But if I feel like if they would have done that show over again, it would have been maybe better to close with Finn and Seth.
Yeah.
For that big moment.
And it feels like perhaps maybe Shane McMahon has got the itch to jump off something high again. Do you think it's going to be Shane and Brock? Is that what they're doing with this?
I could see that. That would be awesome.
I could. I don't know how believable it is, but they've always made Shane out to be this sort of Superman.
And he's just like, he's crazy. Like,
he's crazy.
He'll do stuff that nobody else will do for the sake of winning a match and putting on a show. So, like, that story right there kind of tells itself. It's
I think that's what they're doing.
Brock will beat the crap out of him, and Shane just won't quit. And if he has to jump off the rafters of the arena, like, to take him out, he'll do it, you know?
I mean, it's an interesting... And I guess... the way it ended means there's still an opening for a rematch between Randy and Brock.
Yeah.
You know, there's still that story to tell as well.
And Randy still comes off looking like a badass.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he kicked out of F5s. He, you know, got in his RKOs, and like he got legitimately cut open by a Brock Lesnar elbow, which could be one of the most lethal things on earth.
Yeah.
You could be knocked out by that.
And was still getting beaten by him when like the referees were checking on him. So like Randy comes out, doesn't get pinned, doesn't get submitted, like he just gets knocked out like it's a UFC fight. And Brock, just coming back from UFC, is more legitimate than ever in a sense. And you know, he's how often do matches end by TKO in the WWE?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know, I think a lot of it maybe has to do with what happened the night before with Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
At UFC 202.
Yeah.
Because now you've got Brock in WWE, but he's a UFC guy, and there's suddenly a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Conor McGregor's in the news. There was a lot of blood at the UFC event on Saturday.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I just feel like people will be talking about both events now in the same breath.
It's perfect. It's perfect cross promotion, especially with Conor's been calling out everyone. Everyone's been firing back. And say what you want about Conor. I love Conor. You know, I'm all about the showmans and stuff.
Exactly,
and
that's what it's all about, right?
And like, he's smart. He knows what he's doing. He's trying to make himself money.
Yep.
Will he ever come over the WWE? Like, possibly.
That'd be cool.
I feel like the door's open for sure because he can make money, and if you can make Vince money, the door's open.
Yeah.
So he's just setting himself up, and like, you know, some people might have took it too seriously, but like, I mean, Conor is legit. And he showed that Saturday. Like, he came in with a game plan. Like, I don't want to go too off on a UFC tangent, but like, he showed great, vast improvements from his first fight with Diaz, where like he knew what Diaz wanted to do, and he just picked him apart for like majority of the fight. And then, you know, he got winded and exhausted, but
But he wouldn't go down, would he?
Wouldn't
Like,
quit.
when Diaz was down, he wouldn't go after him.
No, because
he knew he'd lose.
No,
there.
and he's smart. Like, you know, some people are like, oh, he's scared to go on the ground. No, he's fighting a fight, and he knows that that's a fight he doesn't want to. He can't win on the ground.
Yeah.
He knows that, and he's showing Diaz respect. Really, like, I'm not messing with you down there.
Yeah.
Stand up and let's brawl. And for 25 minutes, they just kicked each other's ass. Yeah.
God, it was a tough fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. But finally, who are the WWE superstars that you guys are kind of closest to? Not including your dad, obviously. But like, if you're backstage, you're quite involved with the company now. Who'd you get on with the most?
I love all the women. They're all so sweet. Natalia she's the best. It's always great to see
Nice,
her.
yeah.
As you were saying earlier, Sheamus is
Such a
super
nice guy.
nice.
Yeah.
Enzo always goes out of his
Yeah.
way to say hi to us,
Yeah.
and he loves Huey because Huey made a custom action figure for Enzo.
Before Enzo had like his real one out,
Oh,
we made a good
Yeah,
one, a really
yeah.
good one. Yeah.
Amazing.
And Charlotte's great, Sasha, Becky, just they're all wonderful. They're really great people.
Yeah. What about you, Frank?
Yeah, it's a lot of my people that I was close with had pretty much were gone from the company, so I kind of had to find some new people. But yeah, no, like now that I've been like, I've been going backstage for some of the shows, and like obviously filming the show, there's a lot of cameos, and I've got to meet people, and like I just over the years, and you know how it is over the years, like you just network and you just meet the people in the cities, in the towns, whatever. So I always have good interactions with Miz.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
always,
Miz
he's
is
always
the
like very
best.
sarcastic towards me. Like we saw him with like he had a present for like a Total Divas scene, like a big gift, and the elevator opens up. We're in the elevator. He's like, I'm like, oh, gift for me. He's like, yeah, a bunch of new face paint for you. You loser or whatever. Like something like that. Xavier.
Oh yeah,
Super nice.
He's a great guy, isn't he?
Yeah, and like even like I just saw John Cena. I'm not saying I'm best friends with John Cena, but like he's always over the years made it a point to go out of his way to acknowledge me, to say something, just like, hey man, appreciate it. You're the man, Frank. Just like stuff like that. Really,
and Frank
like,
loves Finn.
and I love. Oh
He-
God,
he
yeah.
has a total man crush.
I do love
on
Finn. Yeah, I told her like
He's
this
a good-looking
weekend-
man. He can't be denied.
Is, yeah,
He has
stupid
some,
sexy Balor.
nice abs.
I told her, I'm like, I've seen so many people, and I was like, I haven't seen Finn like outside of the ring in like a year and a half. Like, it was like Mania 31. Like we met, outside the ring.
Yeah.
So I've seen him at shows, and like, we'll talk in passing, but like, man, I just want to see Finn. Now he's on the come up, and like, so sure enough, like backstage, I'm like walking on my phone, like I hear someone say, oh, hello, and
Sorry, what accent was that?
no, I have a great Irish
Wait,
accent.
he does.
Wait.
Do it
That
for
sounded
us.
Iranian.
Oi, Noelle. Oh, it's great to see you, lad. It's really great to see you and the rest of the Foleys. Oh, Frank the Clown. Oh, man. That Shinsuke entrance, man. That was fucking perfect, man. Oh, do that 2-3 times.
Tree.
1, 2,
Two or
3.
three times.
Yeah,
Wow.
but
Like, you have a
It's
nice
sort of there.
talent.
It's
Yeah.
sort of there.
yeah, so I'm working
No,
on
I think it's
I'm
there.
honing my...
I thought
Okay.
Finn Balor was talking to me right now.
And what's ironic was I see him backstage, say hello, and then I end up sitting next to him for the Joe and Nakamura match because we all were sitting front row and they brought him
of
out.
course. Yeah.
So him and I got to...
It was funny because Frank was sitting next to Becky,
Yeah.
and my dad's like, "Hey, Frank, you want to switch?" Because my dad
Right.
loves Becky and Sasha, and Frank's like, "No problem."
Right, I like Becky, and Becky's always been nice to me. We were chatting it up, and like he's like, "Hey Frank," it was like in the middle of Shinsuke's entrance. I'm like recording, and like they actually had the video on my phone. I like shoot my camera down. She's like, "Hey Frank, you wouldn't mind switching?" And I look over, and I'm like, I see Finn over there, and I'm like, "Sure thing, Mr. Foley."
Do you call him Mr. Foley?
I do.
Yeah.
Really?
I always call him
Yeah,
Mr.
you've
Foley.
never
Oh, that's
said
nice.
Mick or anything.
I've never said Mick.
Do you say my mom's name Colette or
No,
Mrs.
I always
Foley?
say Mrs. Foley. Yeah,
Oh.
I was always raised where I even call like some of my best friends' parents I've known for 20 years. I still call them Mr. So-and-so.
Yeah.
Just the way I was raised, I always find it respectful. And it's like if they tell me that I can call them Mick or Colette, then I know that, sure, of course. And even then, I still might call them Mr. and Mrs. Foley. It's just...
Yeah, I have a best friend, and I don't call her parents anything. I'm just like,
They're nameless to you?
hi.
They just...
I just don't.
Hello, person.
Yeah, I start talking, and I hope they're listening. Like, I don't know. I just feel uncomfortable being like,
That's hilarious.
Mrs. Horan, or hey Debbie. Or, like, I don't know. I just feel awkward, so I just start talking. I'm like, hopefully they're listening. Hopefully they know I'm talking to them.
That's hilarious. I just start talking and I hope people are listening.
Right, yeah.
What a great way to end this interview. So, finally, what can people expect from the rest of the series of Holy Foley? So, is one episode dropping every week, or have they
They
released a few
dropped
episodes?
5 last
Five
night.
already?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can binge watch away.
There are
Which
5
obviously Frank
on
will do
demand.
Yeah.
because he's got no
Oh,
life.
No,
yeah,
yeah,
no
yeah.
life
I mean,
at all.
Just skip to your scenes.
We're honestly going to probably watch them right after this, or at least 1 or 2 of them, just because...
Because I'm so excited to see it.
Yeah,
I want to
it's
see.
great,
I
man.
want to
There's-
see it.
We have so many questions about how it's going to turn out,
Yeah.
and
So
we'll see how much of a loser I'm portrayed as.
Yeah, expect chaos. Expect Frank being a loser. Expect me crying. Expect Probably a lot of sexual references, because I know I threw in a lot. I like the sexual references make me laugh, so I tend to say them a lot. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
The reason alone to tune in, and more of your extra small shirts.
They focus.
Wait,
I think they talk the one scene.
I talk so much about Frank's girl pants. So I hope
I wear tighter. I wear slim-fitting jeans.
No, they're girl pants, and I really hope they include that because
that becomes a running theme. It was a running theme during shooting. Will it make the show? I don't know, but
Frank's
jeans
I'm always don't fit me. They're too small.
I mean, in all due respect, like you do have like what 43-inch hips.
41.
41.
I've lost a couple inches. I've been working out.
Right. I believe my hips. I think.
But 41's still
I don't even
big.
Know. Big.
I mean, there's some childbearing hips, and we're not complaining about them.
Frank's favorite thing to do is jiggle my legs.
It's quite a therapeutic thing.
The
interview's going off the rails now.
Yeah, we'll probably leave it there. Guys, pleasure as always. Great to see you both.
Yeah,
Frank, great to actually have you on the show this time.
Yeah.
Noelle, awesome to see you again.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Boom. See you soon, people.
Bye.